And he was able to make a lot of accurate calls in that game. After a one-for-one exchange when Cubo Fred made a play earlier, it was Arco that started the Gold Fury around that 10-minute mark, allowing, or baiting rather, Callus in a sticky situation. They picked him off, immediately get the Gold Fury after, and it was kind of a trickle-down effect afterwards. When the deicide happened around the 26-minute mark. Rival were not able to really bounce back. They had a good opportunity to delay the game when it was Ice Ice Baby picking off Zeros in the solo lane side where the tier 2 tower used to stand, but inevitably Dignitas were just too far ahead at that point.
Well, so far right now we're seeing 2 bans come out, 3 bans. No surprises here, as we said. It's Naja, Baron, Freya, and Chernabog.
Okay.
And those 4 are generally banned out, and when they're left going, well, the first pick here is probably a Chernabog. And there it is. The Morgan going to be banned out by Team Rival. Want to make sure that Zeros isn't able to repeat his performance that time around. And so Chernabog, the first pick, that'll go to Arkle. And Rival going to pick the Soul, which we've seen Wolfie play a couple of times. And he has had some stutter steps, I'll call them. But he has been able to find the victories on the Sun God.
I'm surprised they go for Soul and Sylvanas still leaving Baron on the table. Normally, when you have 5 gods that you want to ban, if you ban only 3 of them,
sure,
then the first pick's only getting 1, you get the other, but that's not the case right now for Rival.
Yeah, it looks like Team Rival kind of not wanting to. So we saw Energy lose week number 1, and a lot of what I said had to do with that was the fact that they were picking the Baron and weren't really ready to play him, weren't really comfortable going in that direction. And so Rival said, you know what, not really our big deal. We'll see if Dignitas pick it. If not, they'll ban it during the secondary ban phase. But guess what? Chernabog and Baron on the same squad next to a Serket. And if you're just looking at the raw power of these individual picks, which you shouldn't, you should be looking at everything in context. But if you are going to isolate them into just the raw power potential, Dignitas on a great start. Rival with Amaterasu.
I like this idea of having the late game Amaterasu, but is it enough to deal with just how annoying that Baron's going to be with a Gem of Isolation? Variety is always going to be there in the thick of things. Last game he went a total of 3-0-21 that last game without a single death, with having that like heavily agility as well besides him after getting a couple of madness points. It just allows him to weave in and out of the action very effortlessly.
Same second round bans here from Team Rival as they say no to the Odin and the Ratatasker. And then Terra and Artio banned out here. Artio was selected last time around, now won't be able to be picked. And so Soul, Sylvanas, Amaterasu, and the Jingwei for Team Rival, taking a toss with their final 2 selections.
It's really surprising that Rival are the ones to ban away Odin when they prefer the Odin at times, especially when you're up against a Baron. He's so fast and wiggly that you might want to just cage him at times, and knowing Ice Ice Baby, that's one of his go-to junglers, playing it against E United at the World Finals, having a relative success.
The problem is that Odin does fantastically well against characters like Sylvanas and Soul. Soul can kind of wiggle her way out of trouble there, but Sylvanas is a sitting goose inside of that ring. Amaterasu also kind of runs into some trouble, so want to make sure that everything is covered. Mercury for Ice Ice Baby. Ram one more time for that Hunter on the side of Team Dignitas. Next to a Fafnir, 2 hunters, so 2 very strong hunters. A Fafnir, a Serket, and a Baron Samedi. Listen, I'm going to put myself on the line and say Dig win this one. I don't see how they don't.
Yeah, the way Variety played the last game, the way Arkle played the last game, I think Dignitas have the momentum in game number 2, but late game potential with Mercury. Ice Ice Baby has to be that X factor to allow Rival to stick it in game 2 to extend it to a game 3.
Well, you've heard what I think. Now I want to hear what you think. Put it in Mixer chat. Let us know if it's going to be Team Dignitas or if Rival are going to turn things around and stretch us to some bonus smite today. But like I said, I mean, I haven't seen a draft this one-sided in a long time.
It's hard to say, honestly, just looking at the draft, because Rival is always known to step it up when it really matters. And the way they were able to play at lands just goes to show their true experience. I think that maybe Rival can sneak this in, but I do favor Dignitas by like 5 to 10%.
Well, let's get right to the action. Finch, Hondu, take us away.
Thanks, Tim and Anatoly. I don't know what that was all about, but we're going into game 2 now between Dignitas and Team Rival. And in game 1, despite the game time, Dignitas really seemed to be in control the entire time. And this time, Hindu, I mean, their draft might be even better. Arkle back on this ROM. They got the Serket, Chernabog, and the Baron Samedi. I mean, can Rival make these picks work?
And that's the question, can they make them work? I think the one thing about the rival picks and bans phase there was why they drafted him in that order too. Why pick Sylvanas so early? He's not predominantly picked in the meta right now early on. You could have held that. Obviously, I guess they didn't want to leave plans elsewhere, but I think this hurts him a little bit. Now, this is the one lane that really gets a lot of pressure, I would say. But look at that Amaterasu sat right now from Deathwalker. Look where he is.
He's waiting on the red buff to spawn is going to be the idea. As Trickstank and Arc will take quite a bit of poke as well. That should set up that invade.
Yeah, and the one thing is, like, Dignitas's dual lane should struggle a little bit, actually, because of the pressure you'll get from the Sylvanas. But Jingwei kind of like lost in the middle lane in the early games.
Interesting.
Wears off his Deathwalker.
Nice.
Oh, that's big.
The hammer should be all it takes, some control to interrupt that teleport. Now, that should be free pressure on the right-hand side, and Deathwalker could potentially be in trouble here on the left-hand side of the map. They have no more control to try and lock him down, but Zeros could rotate over as well.
Don't know why he didn't teleport straight after the hammer, though. He's teleport doesn't go on cooldown. It just gets reset. You could have teleported again straight after the hammer and been fine, but instead he hung around, and now he loses like a wave and a half in that solo lane.
He does eventually make it over, but Variety already level 2, and the last thing you want to do to a Baron is give him an early lead. Vote and Kala's going to play aggressive. Pull lands, so Trickstank gets pulled back in, and now Shell has been forced.
Okay, so the Shell being forced for the pull was a good little play from Rival there. They get pressure in dual lane because of what Deathwalker did, and that was the whole plan originally anyway, with him looking to strip away the red buff in the jungle. I'm still worried about this game as it continues, though, because Surket's going to have a field day with some of the characters on the opposition team.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be scary. I feel like the Soul could potentially have a good matchup as long as Disapparate's well-timed, but catching an Ice in the jungle could cause some problems for them as well if Vote gets isolated. In particular, this Sylvanas, so immobile. Surket's love to bully those. So Cubo Fred, I feel like I agree with you, has an opportunity to have a great early game.
I'm thinking about Dignitas. I mean, what were their first 3 picks when you think about Chernobog, Baron Samedi, and Surket? If you see those 3 locked in, and your team has locked in Sol and Sylvanas, and your 4th pick, you're like, well, this ain't going as well as we would have hoped for, is it? Already I'm thinking about F6 at 10.
Yeah, this draft has gotten away from Rival. It felt like a little bit, but
the game might not.
You heard that's exactly right, and you heard him talk about it on the desk. Rival have been known to execute with drafts that we don't always see the whole picture right away. They've got a lot of auto attackers. I feel like here with Vote, Wolfie, and with Ice Baby on this Mercury, they can certainly turn this around if they get some items online.
Late game really strong. Like as a composition, late game you got a Mercury, Amaterasu, Sylvanas, Sol, and even Jingwei. Like that whole comp into the late game is going to do a lot of work, but they've got to get to the late game first of all. And during the early stages, it's about how much of a pace Cubo Fred sets, in my opinion, in this game. He can really shut them down early.
Looks like Variety was able to get that blue buff in vain. Ice Baby wanted to try and grab him, but Cubo Fred was right there with him to bail him out, so Variety should be A-okay. He does still have a bit of an XP lead over Deathwalker here in the lane, about 100 XP per minute, really, which is gonna eventually be a problem here for Deathwalker.
I mean, Deathwalker will be able to survive this laning phase pretty well. His ultimate's gonna be really good at answering back that of the life of the party from Baron to make sure he gets back out of that danger zone time and time again. So that'll be a nice little boon for the Rival boys. It's just what else happens on the rest of the map. And it's really, can Ice Baby farm to high heaven and look to count against Cubo Fred? And can Cubo Fred find the ganks in the first place?
And remember, we talked about how strong the late game for Rival could be, but it is Dignitas that have the double Hunter Fafnir combo that always seems to do so much work, right? They've got the Rom in the dual lane, they've got the Chernobog in mid, and Fafnir right there. Plus, it's double Hunter where one of the Hunters can like fly anywhere on the map essentially and have that huge rotational presence. It feels like Dignitas are really out in front with just the God potential they have.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, they're lacking a little bit of magical damage, but Variety will help them out a little bit there as he gets a little bit online. But he's going to have to go for plenty of defense this game, too, to deal with the incoming danger.
Cubo Fred gank, last breath is on top of Kalas. That should be first blood for the jungler for Team Dignitas, just like we said.
And that is why you don't pick Sylvanas into Surket. But, to be fair, he picked Sylvanas before the Surket was locked in.
So early.
But that's what happens when you lock in Sylvanas, is there's a chance the enemy team's going to take Surket.
Especially if it's available, if it's sitting there. They'll pick it right on up, and Cubo Fred plays it about as well as anybody you could ask for. Zero's just barely avoiding the damage, but not enough. Ice Baby finds him with the special delivery and answers back quickly.
Really nice kill in the mid lane, and Rival really keeping pace. Because the one thing that's important in the game of Smite 2 is morale. You may not think about it, but just seeing like people die around the map, and you're like, well, this ain't going so well. I can't rely on my dual lane anymore. And then you look at the map and go, well, my mid lane died too. Gets worse. The good news is mid lane getting the kill there, and it going to Mercury as well is definitely going to be helpful.
And Zeros had to give up the beads as well. It didn't even save his life, so he could potentially fall to a second gank. Wolfie does have Disapparate, so Cubo Fred won't pose too much of a threat, makes it back to the tier 1. But now is the jungle opened up for invades is the question.
Yeah, making that Disapparate just go on cooldown then is a really good window, because it buys you, what, 16, 18 seconds of not being able to use a Disapparate another time, which means you have to see Wolfie sit back some more and relinquish some of that pressure in the jungle now, where you can see Dignitas are really exploiting.
Blue buff stripped away, back Harpies now. Should be going to Cubo Fred. Ice is here. Major looks like at least grabbed one for him, so not going to lose too much farm. But Dignitas have taken the early pressure and pushed that into the jungle solo side, and that feels like it's starting a lot from Deathwalker's early start as well as Cubo Fred playing well.
Yeah, if this game goes past 25 minutes, that's where Rival will start to pick up a momentum in the game. But the first 25 minutes of the game, it's all about how much of a bleeding can Rival stem. They're like, listen, we're going to take some bumps and bruises in this game, in the early game, but if we can get past that, we'll be okay. That's the game plan here.
As long as they can try and slow down this. It feels like this early control Dignitas have been able to establish. Variety still feeling comfortable up against Deathwalker, but as you said, he hasn't had too much trouble, I feel like, staying safe. What's really been the cost is not so much Deathwalker, I feel like, dying. It's been these repeated blue buff invades.
Yeah, which just slowly over time trickles the effect of falling behind in levels ever so slightly, which does mount up over time. 1 blue buff, no problem. 2 blue buffs, you're annoying me. 3, can you just leave? 4, all right, just F6, I'm done. That's kind of the scale of blues.
Right, or just any kind of single buff invade. You're kind of right. It doesn't immediately hurt, but it does kind of start some problems. Is Cubo Fred splitting that farm? Is he now getting farm that Ice is missing out on? It's not just solo. It can start to help the junglers as well, and Cubo Fred has used it well so far.
He's going to pick up his own speed for himself too. Should be working towards more than likely Jotuns next on that circuit. You see it all the time. 20% CDR just so good. As Callis is trying to sell for somebody mid.
Big Sonic Boom lands. Supernova's right there for the follow-up. Nice. Nowhere for Zeros to go. And a clean, easy pick in mid. But Cubo Fred's not giving up on this. He's used the Deathbane already, but ambushes away and barely survives.
That was a really nice play from Rival. Just recognizing the beats was still on cooldown from Zeros. It had like 10 seconds till that cooldown was up, and Mercury just barrels down mid, hits him in the full all-in combo. Nice pick from Rival on somebody like Zeros, who's a very safe player. It's not easy to do.
Not at all, and as you said, they executed it very well. You could kind of tell, too, because Callis was lurking in the jungle, but Zeros wants to try and do the return this time. He comes in with his own ultimate. Soul goes aggressively as well, drops the heat at her feet, and is looking for the autos now, but Trickstank still wants Callis.
Oh, and Callis in a lot of trouble on the Cubo. Fred turns back up. One kick Deathbane, and that's going to be his life. But now it's Cubo in trouble, and that didn't work out for Rival. That was too aggressive from Zeros, and it cost him big.
Cubo Fred, no beads. He's gone Blink instead, which made it easy for Ice Baby to lock him down 1-for-1 here in the middle lane, as Wolfie throws out another Stellar Burst, looking for damage, but it's Ice who's stripping away the jungle farm.
Yeah, that was definitely a play from Zeros that just baited his team into a bad spot overall. He's like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to retreat. Now, he didn't use his beads, granted. I like the idea in some aspects because you get a buff as the Churner bug once you get there with your cooldown reset.
Zero's in trouble yet again here in the mid lane, and Wolfie's there to clean up. This mid lane Soul's working wonders. Dazzling offensive from Deathwalker to try and find Trickstank, but will he give his wife away? He certainly will, and Arkle gets the credit.
And now Wolfie's going to get pulled on a wild ride, not one by choice. And Cubo's Fred's there to pick up the pieces again. Gold leads ever so slightly in Dig's favor still, but this is just a battle of hell between the two right now. They're just standing and banging time and time again.
Yeah, it feels almost like Assault here with how much they're just barreling down that middle lane and looking for fights. Arkle and Vote could end up having the man battle here in the jungle, but Arkle doesn't want it and falls back.
See that ping down straight afterwards? That was Vote going, guys, there's a ward here. There's no way Arkle just stands there like that. Arkle kind of gave the game away, but better safe than sorry. That's what wards are for. Don't end up dying. But now they know, Rival, there's a ward around that area, so they can't be looking to use that corridor for the time being. But maybe the lane gank. Boom!
It's going to be the call. Ice Baby comes through, but Arkle just barely avoids it. Doesn't even have to use beads. That's huge as Deathwalker takes a bunch of damage. Variety's right here to follow up. The auto attack procs, and Deathwalker goes back to base.
One of those situations. One jungler ganks one lane, a jungler ganks the other lane. One's successful, one isn't. And now the speed buff is being invaded by Cubo Fred. Ice Baby coming back at 2 levels down. Won't be there in time, and that isn't as fast of a Mercury as you'd like.
Special delivery, though, is going to catch him out. Cobra's Kiss buys a little bit of time, but it will be right around the corner, and Ice Baby punishes the over-aggression, but now Gold Fury, with that AoE Coerce, is being sieged. Vote's here to try and defend. They jump in and force out beads. They give up the Gold Fury, though, so Vote has done his job.
Yeah, that works out pretty well for Rival, honestly, because they get the ultimate out of Trixtank too. Kuvafred falls down. He did have a speed buff. He doesn't have one any longer. And now they're looking to invade, but that's Ice on his own right now. The rest of his team were pressuring mid, but where's Zero's going to go?
He dashes back towards the tier
Nice
2,
shoot.
avoids the pull. Major Look does hit, but Zeros lives this time, even though he doesn't have beat. Supernova committed, and Wolfie gets his 5th kill of the game.
That was a nice little play from Wolfie there, just realizing there was no escape after the dash, but Arkell going to dash in on Ice Baby.
Looking for the fight, but 2 members get knocked up. Double for Wolfie. This Soul pick doing work early
Wolfie doing
on.
work, not Soul, just Wolfie.
Cubo Fred comes in. He's trying to start the fight. Ambush
Got
on
it.
top of Vote to get away from the Wrath of Terra, and finds the kill.
It spreads to everybody around the area. Cal's getting low, but so is Cubo Fred. He was looking to clean up Ice Baby. He's
The Variety.
around, but Wolfie's getting very low.
Variety's going to be the difference maker here. He does land the Rapid Up, but Dazzling Offensive stops him in his tracks. Zeros joins the fray, finds 1 kill. Can't find Zeros, turns around towards Deathwalker, who has to run away, but right there with the autos is Zeros. But they don't have enough to lock him down.
Don't like the chase here. They should be looking at the Gold Fury at this point in time with Variety there as well. And Trixtank, there should have been a Gold Fury attempt instead. It's a poke battle in mid that they've overextended in. Beads consumed for Zeros is in the wall.
But now Trixtank is stuck too far forward. Special Delivery does catch a 1, but Variety trades it back immediately with his own kill. Rapid Up locks down Deathwalker. Trixtank's there with the hammer to keep the CC chain going. And now the shots come out from Arkell, but he might be too far away to find it. Now Variety's got to clean it up.
Hello? Oh, he's going to get away.
Wow.
Cubo might be able to give chase, but Deathwalker's got the mobility option. No tier 1 tower, remember. This should be a death.
Cubo Fred is going to hunt him down. Ambush is going to land. Doesn't have Cobra's Kiss yet, so Deathwalker can keep right on Juki. He gets away from both of the Cobra's
Wrap it
Kisses,
up.
but now he certainly should be
Wrap it up,
dead.
Variety, that's right. Oh no, he may still get out.
Wow, they have to commit life of the party. That's a bit of a win for Deathwalker to at least get that, but he does end up falling. 9-9 are the kills, but Golden digs favor.
The problem is that Gold Fury should have gone down. Why chase Amaterasu across the map there, Finch? Go to the Gold Fury, take it down, get more gold in the coffers. Ignore the Amaterasu that's not done anything. He uses ult already. What's the worry about if he engages?
It is a bit curious that they go for that. Mary Chase instead leads them all the way back over to the solo side. They grab no objectives. Now Wolfie, who's been on fire this game.
Literally.
Looking for Trixtank, but not going to be able to find anything more. But this Soul is very, very quickly becoming a problem.
Oh, she's hot right now.
Hot, hot, hot.
Yeah?
I did a dance earlier that Hindi really liked. I did it again, but no one can see.
Do it when we're on screen after this game.
I'll think about it.
Please do.
I'll consider it.
It looked lovely.
Wolfie now, grouping up around the Gold Fury with the rest of the squad. They want Oracles at the very least and will establish some vision, but not going to go for the objective itself. Hinduman, this still is slowed down the pace just a little bit. There's been a ton of kills, but now we've got to hit this moment where everyone's kind of backing up and breathing.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about this. We're just going to play around the Soul a little bit more from Dignitas's point of view, is making sure they stay away from the Soul and not just fully focus it. Because if they try and fully focus Soul, they're going to bait themselves into bad fights where Jingwei and Mercury are going to end up getting involved and causing a lot more problems for them. So you got to be a little bit more careful of that.
I did want to talk to you a little bit, though, about the Blackthorn Hammer Deathwalker picked up here,
yeah.
right? It's something that I feel like Deathwalker likes to do. It can be kind of nice. It's got some health on it, but, I mean, what is it that he really... Well, we'll talk about it later. Gold Fury being looked at by Rival, and it should go down.
Man, that's way too... That's lazy from Dig to give that away. That shouldn't have even been a situation or a window there.
Wow.
If anything, that's Trix and Arkell's job. Arkell's job to recognize there's somebody missing in the dual lane, and Trix's job to recognize his Arkell was back into his hit's job to cover the Gold Fury area, but they don't have the vision. Bad mistake from Dig there. The Rival, well punished, and good job from them.
They did a good job to make sure they controlled it. I think they had the Sentry. They knew there was no vision on it
Good
directly, but a great pull from Collis gets Trixtank back. He has the leap away.
It's Fafnir. That's the benefit of Fafnir.
He's good.
Get in trouble, press 3 and walk away.
He was able to. Now Tier 1 tower being looked at, but they don't have any minions. Dignitas won't be able to find anything here either. But to go back to Deathwalker,
Yes.
right, and this Blackthorn Hammer conversation, I feel like he's always willing to go into these unique sort of build paths we don't always see.
I mean, on paper, 450 health and 10% cooldown.
It's pretty nice.
That's what you look at that item for. 450 health and 10% cooldown. And guess what? You know, if you're low on mana, Finch, you get a little bit lower cool. You won't get as much cooldown. But how about mana regen? How's that sound to you?
He'll be able to get that in the back end, plus the breastplate. He definitely wants to spam
Now
these
Mana regen.
abilities, but going to be watching the game in black and white now. Cubo Fred finds that kill,
Do you know you
teaming
can turn
up.
that option off?
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know the black and white?
Why would I do that?
So when you're dead, it goes black and white. But there is an option to turn it off. I only remembered that after I turned
Do you think
it off so long.
Deathwalker has that turned off?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm
Why?
going to say yeah.
Pyromancer being looked at by Dig. Supernova committed, but it's too late now. Wolfie won't have that if the fight breaks out, but Dignitas won't commit. Another objective go Dig's way.
Yeah, there's no real... Well, you say another objective. It's the only objective that went their way so far, in honesty, outside of
That's
jungle
fair.
camps. The Gold Fury actually went to Rival. Wolfie feeling himself a little bit, getting aggressive on his own there, because he's got Ice and Callus around the corner. And Wolfie's really come a long way in this build now. Got that Book of Thoth online. More than likely, we may see the Book of the Dead again, which is that huge shield that ends up making an impact so many times in the game.
And I'm curious if we're going to start seeing those rings out from him. We've seen like the Demotic and Telekines sometimes on these soul builds, but right now so far, Wolfie's been going just the traditional mage build.
Yeah.
But now Arco's got to be careful too. Ice is lurking.
I like this angle. Just trying to cut him across
thought he was
potentially, but it's not going to spell out. Vote was clearly like, no, I'm not interested. I think there was eyes on Circuit.
Yeah, they got a ward.
On the Gold Fury. Now it's an Oracle's fight instead.
Curious that they're getting
Big
this
one.
one with such a heavy commitment. Tricksnake finds Wolfie, who's low early. Arco, can he find the shots this time? Disapparate is going to keep Wolfie alive for now. He has the shots
Good
waiting, but
shots.
they're not enough. Forces out Aegis, but Wolfie survives.
Wolfie will be completely
Oh,
out of the fight,
goodness.
though, as will Callus. And some of this actually comes down to Deathwalker staying in lane so long, because Variety was in that fight from the moment it started at the Oracles, whereas Deathwalker stayed in the solo lane, had to teleport late, and now Callus is dead, and so is he!
Deathwalker goes right back towards the rest of the team. He has health, but not that much protections. Ice Baby comes through with the Sonic Boom, finds no one as Arkle removes Wolfie. Tier 1 tower goes down. Boat has to airstrike away. It's 5 against 2. Dignitas have turned the game on its head just that fast.
Yep, they're going to get a tier 2 tower in the mid lane too, so overall it's 2,000 gold from just the tier 1 and tier 2 tower in their coffers. Giving them a 3k gold lead. Exactly! Ooh, I've
Wow.
not seen an exact number on there for a long time.
Just that quick, right? I mean, look at those charts. It was virtually dead even, but Dignitas win that fight so cleanly, and now they want the Fire Giant. I like this call. There's really not anyone around.
I mean, you're forcing 2 carries to come in now because they're the only ones here. In comes Ice Baby. Has he been spotted?
He has the Major look to try and go for the steal at the last moment. Dignitas do secure the objective, but Vogt goes in aggressively and ends up giving his life away, and he falls very quickly to Arkle. Now Kibo Fred
he got
Cobra's kiss on the Ice Baby. One more kill. Dignitas have turned these things around. That's crazy.
Rivals communication
That's crazy.
is just off right now. I get what Vogt did. He goes in, tries to steal it, realizes that he's probably going to die by going in for it, so he tries to trade out with Kibo Fred. He ends up dying. Ice Baby hangs around, trying to help out Vogt and secure a kill himself. He ends up dying. And so you've got 2 members dead, as well as the Fire Giant for Dignitas. Rough situation for Rival.
Well, you really can just kind of lose one team fight, and now the game is out of your control, or at least it feels that way. When you lose so much all at once, right? 2 towers and the FG, and a bunch of kills on the back end, 6,600 experience, 4,700 gold. And look back, can we go back to those levels? Zeros has been behind all game. They have focused him out. It's been Variety and Kibo Fred, I feel like in particular, that have really kept this game in Dig's favor.
Yeah, Narkill still grinding away on the Rama,
That's
still
true.
doing the Lord's work from Dignitas' point of view, I'll tell you that much. This comp from Dignitas looked good in picks and bans, and then into the game, Rival had spurts, had moments of strong situations, but then Vogt comes back, has no beads, has no Aegis, has to go back to base again, and Rival just trying to defend. Nothing. The tier 2 tower's already dead.
Unfortunately, Supernova just kind of went right through the middle of the team fight. Couldn't find anyone. Sonic Boom only able to find 1 target as well. So nearly all ultimates from Rival committed. Meanwhile, Dignitas have every single one except for Last Breath. They can keep up this chase with the Fire Giant and with all 5 members healthy. Rival, I agree with your earlier statement there. A little bit out of sync, it feels like.
Yeah, they're just not on the same page. It feels like the calls aren't as clean. People aren't communicating as well as maybe they usually do. That's what it reads to me anyway, just watching them play, because you see people jumping and no one follows up, or you see no one jumping and everybody dies. Just 'cause they sit
Right.
there. It's kind of weird.
Whichever end of it feels like, I agree. The and again, we're saying this from the outside in. We're not in those comms, but
Sure.
that's just what it feels like from what we're watching right now. Is Dignitas, maybe it's Dignitas forcing them to look that way. What is the response when they have pressure everywhere, like Wolfie's now experiencing?
This is getting way out of hand, though. Because, I mean, look at Deathwalker, 0-5. What's he really done this game?
Not much.
Yeah. This is probably... And that's not a complaint at Deathwalker himself. I'm just saying he's not managed to do anything in these games at all to make an impact. Instead, he just ends up trying to farm up and, well, gets picked apart. As the rest of his team, look at Ice Ice just abandoned him looking for buffs and jungle camps.
There's not much you could have done there to help out. Cubo Fred played that about as well as you could, as well as you'd want, but can't quite find the kill. Variety does get vote. The Magai's cloak comes off from Cubo, but he is keeping on the chase and holding down W. Tier 2 and right being pushed by Variety, and the rest of the squad will come to join him and grab that one as well. They have Fire Giant for another minute. That's time to perhaps push for one more Phoenix.
Well, Wolfie's going to come back up, though, and that's going to be important for the defense here, but they do need Ice Ice Baby back. And if Ice Ice is staying in the lane, which I'm really surprised that he could have backed and come in with this Sonic Boom, they're just going to relinquish your Phoenix on the right-hand side at 20 minutes.
And this is tough. Now Rival have given up too much, and I'm wondering if they're not still mentally back at that fight at 17 minutes, because really everything got away from them all at once, and it can be hard to switch gears this quickly onto almost full defensive mode, because it went from being even to just now we gotta just fall back and defend.
And Rival are just running around the map. It's very strange to see Amaterasu and the Mercury both trying to do this thing where they're split pushing deeply the other three to defend, who aren't getting any farm the other three, by the way, by doing this. Like, Wolfie, Callus, and Vote are not going to get anything because the other two are cleaning up the map before they can even get to it. Like, they're on the other half of the map farming these creeps, and the other guy's like, well, I guess we stay at level 14, guys, and hopefully one day we'll see some of that farm.
That's the one problem with pushing out the waves, right, is that no one else gets them, and it's going to be a long time before the wave gets back up, and they can get some safe farm because they can't even step outside their base.
Yeah, and you can see that with Wolfie. Like, Wolfie, like you said, was ahead of Zeros in the mid lane for quite a while. Now it's even at this point, just because he's not had anything to really take for himself at the moment.
And now I can kind of stack that on top with Variety, Cubo, and Arco's leads that they've enjoyed essentially all game. Not as much player damage this time from Arco, but certainly still putting up that KDA slash line. If it was Arco in game 1, it certainly feels like it's been Cubo Fred here in game 2 on this circuit. I mean, what an impact he's been able to have, just facilitating. I love the way he played up against Deathwalker just now, and he wants a little bit more up against Deathwalker. He forced out the Dazzling Offensive.
Nice ult from Cubo, and a nicely timed to knock him back again. Maybe he's bitten off a bit more than they can chew, because this is the first time Rival were all there.
Sonic Boom only hits Arco, but he immunes it with the ultimate charge. Supernova waiting, but he patiently avoids it. Now has to use beads to roll out. Collis can't find the pull, but Variety pulls everyone back in.
Ooh, and that pull back in just could be the beginning of the end, because run, Rival, run! There's no tier 2 tower! Zeros takes Deathwalker, Callus, the tree's in trouble as Cubo goes to the back!
He's low health, but jumps in either way. That sets up Variety to find one more kill. Wolfie on the backside, dueling it out up against him, but Arco's found another kill. Collis and Wolfie just too low. Arco finds the double. Collis has to blink away, but there's no Phoenix. Dignitas can just march right down and claim game 2. It's a 5-minute storm that this game has fallen away from Rival.
Finch, the only moment in that game that Rival looked interesting to me was that right inside where they caught Cubo extended, but they didn't kill him. And then as soon as that happens, Dignitas collapse and pick up the pieces, taking that 2-0.
And really, if it wasn't for Wolfie, I don't think the game would have even been as close as it was. Throughout that early to the beginnings of the mid stage of the game, Wolfie was making some great plays. Some of them individual, like the kill he found in mid lane, and some of them were just falling up off the team. But I don't think it would have even been that close without Wolfie.
No, the Sol pick worked out really well for them overall, actually. And I don't think Callus outside of the laning phase worked out well. I think some of the pulls were really good and the initiations where possible for the pulls. But outside of that, composition fell apart. We knew pick some bans, no one was really confident going into it. We hoped, we dreamed that Rival would show something. Not that game. Disappointing.
And Dignitas continues to look strong, don't they? You kind of alluded to this a bit during the cast, but it kind of feels like they're back in that Dignitas form of old.
Can they keep it?
That's right. And can they keep it if they start making it towards land phases? That's kind of where recently it's fell apart for them a little bit, I think. But who was your MVP in that game here in the present? Again, my vote's going to be going towards Cubo Fred. Hinderman, anybody else stuck out for you in that one?
Variety for me, actually.
Sure, yeah.
I actually think his rotation.
You voted Variety in game 1 too, I think, yeah. Maybe? I feel like you said you liked
Maybe
Variety.
I did, but Variety definitely like it, just because his rotations are so much quicker than Deathwalker.
They were.
And it showed in the impact that they made on the map.
And I wonder how much of that comes down to that early start that Deathwalker had. Remember, he goes to the red buff, and he gets that teleport stopped as well, and he's behind the whole game.
I just think the team as a whole, and knowing Rival as well, they do get very upset when they do die in games, so maybe a little bit of upset in the comms, I would say that. I'm just guessing here, but I feel that could have been the way it went, and it all went downhill from there.
It felt as if Dignitas had control really the whole set, but we'll give that one back over to the desk, break it down. What was y'all's point of view?
Well, my point of view was from the desk. I got to see everything from right here.
Same, actually. You know, sometimes you get a chance to see something differently from a different perspective. And observing from the outside in, I think Dignitas winning the draft very easily. They make the necessary adaptations in the Season 5 fall split, prioritizing the Chernobog, prioritizing the Baron, and Cuvo Fred still on fire with the Circuit. It's no surprise that he yet again looks to gank the dual lane, this time against Kalus's Sylvanas for the first blood.
Exactly. The Sylvanas is certainly not a strong character when it needs to be mobile because, well, it's just not mobile. So a great job from Team Dignitas identifying that Achilles heel and then able to take advantage of it. Once again, Arkel was just the hunter, but I say just in a very perhaps inaccurate way. He was absolutely what the team needed him to be.
But the game ended towards that mid-game stage around 22-23 minutes, and that's Variety doing 18,000 player damage, doubling that of Arkel, which was Game 1 MVP.
Now Cuvo Fred with the 14-4 will be your most valuable player. Not only did he bring the damage, Anatoly, but he also brought some of the control.
A lot of just setup, and this is the same strategy that he did 2 times in a row, just being able to go in that dual lane and make a living nightmare for Kalus. Just couldn't get anything rolling was Rival.
Yeah, he was able to spread it all across everybody, you know, from head to toe, just everything he was able to really think about and just control everything from the top down, so really clean stuff. There's a blink and some hotness as well to really bring everything all together. So at the end of the day, Cuvo Fred winds up being the MVP for game number 2, and Dignitas take it in rather easy fashion, in all honesty. A return to form, I think, for the black and yellow, the squad that looked almost undefeatable in this early parts of the year, and then Energy kind of stepped back, and here they are one more time saying, you know what, we're ready to go.
Rival looking very hot and wet, and unfortunately, or I'm sorry, Dignitas looking very hot and wet, and Rival just a little too cold and dry for the action. Could not really get the ball rolling quite yet. As we're still in week number 2, Rival are now 1-2. Dignitas still undefeated at 3-0.
Yep, going to be an interesting start of the day. We've got Mouse versus SK later on, Energy versus Obey coming up next. But what are your thoughts on those two sets, Tully?
For Energy versus Obey, it's an interesting one for me because Obey always seemed to be that kryptonite for Energy. Out of the spring and summer, the 4 matches that they played against each other, Energy only won one of them.
Certainly something to keep in mind as we roll on to the next one, Energy Obey. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more SPL.